Here.
Jason Kyle.
Here.
Dennis Miller.
Here.
Angela Woodward.
Here.
Dan Lawson.
Here. Please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. Good evening and welcome everyone to the March 19th meeting of the Ashland City Council. It is Election Day. It's primary election day. Before I begin, I'd like to thank everyone who took part in this election for playing a part in the American political process. With that, then we'll move right to the approval of the minutes from the March 5th meeting. If there are no additions, deletions, or corrections to those minutes, I'll ask for a motion to approve as submitted.
So moved.
Second.
Thank you.
Lawson.
Aye.
Workman.
Aye.
Kyle.
Aye.
Miller.
Aye.
Woodward.
Aye.
Minutes will stand approved. The mayor has asked that we add an ordinance to our agenda tonight. It'll need to be read in full. And, but before we read that ordinance, he's asked for an executive session prior. So with that, is there a motion to move to executive session?
So moved.
Second.
Thank you.
Lawson.
Aye.
Workman.
Aye.
Kyle.
Aye.
Miller.
Aye.
Woodward.
Aye.
All right. This will be a brief meeting. We'll be right back.
right, are you ready, Amanda? Okay, we are live now, so folks can see at home.
We have an ordinance to add to our agenda this evening from our meeting in executive session, and it will require full reading. So with that, I'll begin. This will be an ordinance authorizing the purchase of certain real property located in the city of Ashland and declaring an emergency. Whereas the city of Ashland desires to purchase and accept the transfer of the real property known as 341 Cleveland Avenue, Ashland, Ohio, 44805, and having Ashland County permanent parcel number P 43-041-0-0027-00. And whereas this council desires to approve said purchase and acquisition of the subject real property, now therefore be it ordained by the City Council of Ashland, Ohio, its members thereto concurring, Section 1, that the City of Ashland does approve of the purchase and acquisition of the real property known as 341 Cleveland Avenue, Ashland, Ohio, 44805, and having Ashland County permanent parcel number P 43-041-0-0027-00, pursuant to the purchase agreement attached hereto and incorporated by reference. Section 2, the mayor is authorized to execute all documentation in furtherance of closing on the subject property. Section 3, that in order to enable the implementation of the authorization set forth in Section 1 above, this ordinance is declared to be an emergency measure immediately necessary for the preservation of the public peace, property, health, safety, and welfare. Section 4, that this ordinance shall take effect and be enforced from and after its passage by council and approval pursuant to Section 12 of the Charter of the City of Ashland, Ohio. So ends the reading. So with that, Mayor, would you like to summarize?
So probably about 2 years ago, when we were working on the Center Run Trail projects, we were trying to acquire as many of the properties along Cleveland Avenue that we could, especially those that maybe were a little more worn and needed updated, or quite honestly, some of them probably need removed. One of those properties that we were trying to obtain at that time was not available for our purchase, but today it is. As of this week, we actually had a visitor from the gentleman who's managing that particular property. He's the power of attorney, and he expressed that they were ready to sign to sell the property. The property is 341 Cleveland Avenue, and the agreed-upon price is $80,000. And that is right in line with the assessed value from the auditor, and it is close to what we probably offered 2 years ago. In fact, I think we might have offered more 2 years ago, if I recall, but I don't have that in front of me. The good news is that not only is this property now available, but we also believe that we'll be able to cover the cost of the purchase of the property and the eventual demo of the property with grant funds from the state of Ohio. So the reason we're bringing this before you tonight is because, quite candidly, yesterday is when we received an unexpected visit from the power of attorney for the property, and they are attempting to dispose of the property as quickly as possible. So I told them I would be glad to bring it to council tonight because I knew it was on our list of properties that we were hoping to obtain eventually, and that is why it's now on your agenda.
All right. Any questions, concerns, comments? Hearing none, is there a motion to approve on the first reading?
Move to approve.
Second.
Thank you.
Lawson.
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Aye.
Aye.
I'll move to suspend the rules for 3 separate readings, 3 separate days.
Second.
Thank you.
Lawson.
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Aye.
Aye.
Motion to approve the ordinance?
So moved.
Second.
Thank you. Aye.
Aye. Aye.
Aye.
Aye.
Of course, a title search will be done on the property, and there's still a number of steps, but I appreciate your support, and I know they certainly will. The power of attorney doesn't reside here in Ohio, so he's here a limited amount of time, and that's why this will be very helpful to the family.
All right, very good. Thank you, Mayor. We have no resolutions this evening, no public hearing items, no old business or new business unless council has something to bring forward? Hearing none, then we'll move right to Finance Director's report.
Audit continues for 2023, and that seems to be working smoothly. The auditors are in this week, and then they'll be back at the conclusion of, we get to the end of the audit, where they'll be back for some additional testing. They have not found anything, which we fully expected they wouldn't, and we are working through that. There are several policies, financial policies that this body has to enact in order to stay current with current law or current economic conditions, I guess, maybe. The indigent burial policy. The state law requires a indigent person who passes away in our community to have their final wishes paid by the city. Now, in doing that, that is initially when it started, it was $500. Then it went to $750 and then $850. The cremation, the cost of cremation is everything else that we face in our economy today. The cost has went up. So we'll probably be submitting some recommendations to the mayor. He has to, unfortunately, have the privilege of signing off on all that before that gets taken care of. There is forms that have to be completed by the funeral director and the family, if there is a family or someone taking care of that person. And the city does its own investigation to make sure that that person actually lived in our community and stuff. But just didn't want to lay it on you without forewarning you that there will be some updates to those policies as we move forward into this year. And that probably will be the first one that will come at you. And it'll have probably a little higher amount
All right.
in order to keep up with costs, okay? Other than that, that's all I have. Thank you.
Thank you, Larry. How's the income tax collection going?
Well, we're getting ready for income tax season. That's believe it or not, a lot of people have taken advantage of our online filing.
I was curious.
And that really has turned out really well.
Good.
Of course, we always are welcome for our clients and our citizens to come in, and we will certainly do their taxes, their local taxes for them free. We won't do their federal or state, but we'll do their local taxes. But we have had a lot of folks take advantage of that online filing. And this year, they also have the ability to pay online, and some have taken advantage of that as well. So we can only hope that that grows as people realize that benefit, that they can file it online anytime, and it's a secure site to do that on. Thank you for asking.
Sure.
And all they need is there's a taxpayer identification from the
Yes.
city. And that's on your last year's tax return, right?
Actually, the card, there was a yellow card that was mailed out to every citizen earlier this year, about a month ago or 2 months ago. It had that account number on that postcard.
Okay.
They could do that. If they lost it, like I probably did, they can certainly call the office, and we will gladly tell them that number so that they can do that online.
Awesome.
Anyone else?
Cool.
All right.
Thank you.
Thank you, Larry. Moving then to council comments. Dr. Lawson, if you'd like to go.
I don't have anything to share at this time.
Great. Glad you're back.
Thanks.
Yes.
Angela?
I had a few phone calls about the light poles. there's many lights out at Faultless Drive, so I have a whole list.
Okay.
But I wanted to go over the easiest process if you see that a light is out on your street. The best way is to get the tag number off the pole and then to call the mayor's office, and they'll deal with it from there. And I know in the past, Ohio Edison has been wonderful. They do it very quickly. So they'll get that light
That's
back
good.
on because those lights are our safety.
Yes.
So I'll get that list to you.
And we want those lights on because we pay the same bill regardless.
Yes.
Whether they burn or don't.
Yes.
Yeah. So-
Ms. Miller?
Last Friday, about 140 people participated in a mock disaster drill at Grace Church. It's not the first time that's been done. I think they've had this for the last couple of years, and they plan to continue it. But it was very thorough. The scenario was an active shooter, and they had, of those 140 people, a lot of first responders, hospital personnel, ambulances, where they actually transported some of the injured, actually took them to the hospitals for the triage there, so they could get up to speed on that, or get more training on that. And it was very well done. My wife was one of the victims. She was shot twice, but glad to report that everybody that was shot recovered miraculously, and even those that were deceased rose again, so. But it just points out to the fact that the city and the sheriff, the police, the fire department take very seriously. You know, we've not, thank God, we've not had a situation here, but they're training in the case that it does happen. So kudos to them for putting that together and continuing on that training. And from all accounts, it was very well done, very professionally done, and we thank them for keeping sharp and keeping their training up to snuff, and makes us all feel a lot safer.
Great, thank you. Mr. Kyle?
Yeah, I have two things. First of all, the Saturday was the St. Patrick's Day parade and celebration, and that was awesome. A lot of people came up to me and said, next year it's on Monday, maybe we could still have it on Saturday, and then by the time it gets to the middle of the week, then we'll jump it to the next weekend. And so I'm just throwing that out there for consideration. I'm sure the restaurants in town would appreciate that as well. It gives them more time to prepare and more time to serve, because the establishment I stopped at was an hour and a half to get a table, so that was awesome. Second thing, not nearly as much fun, but with spring cleanup being, a couple weeks away, just a reminder, if you're gonna take something out that's upholstered, it has to be covered in plastic completely. That includes mattresses, any furniture that has any kind of upholstery on it. We do this for the safety of our city workers, and it's just if you don't wrap it, it's not gonna leave your yard. It's just going to sit there, and then it's gonna get wet, and it's gonna get heavy, and then you gotta deal with it. So it's just easier to wrap it up in plastic right out of the gate and get it taken care of. They're happy to take it if it's properly stowed away, so.
All right, great. Good. All right, Mayor, I'll hand it over to you.
I will be very quick. Earlier this month, myself and our friends from Sarver Paving made a trip down to Columbus to the Flexible Pavement Expo, Ohio Asphalt Association. And the reason was because Sarver was receiving an award for the quality of the pavement job they did on resurfacing Mifflin Avenue from Claremont to 42. And that is a beautiful section of pavement. I'm not even someone in that business, and I can tell that that is a beautiful section. That was a big deal because they were honored before a room, I would guess, of probably 600 to 800 people. And they were contractors from all around the state. And I asked the question, well, how do they determine whether this one was worthy of an award? And they go through an extensive process and even send out folks from the organization to go and drive and look at the quality of the material and so on. So that's a big deal. So we got a good bargain when we got that paved there between Claremont and 42. Also, this year, the city of Ashland, Arbor Day is just around the corner, and we will celebrate 40 years as a tree city in the USA. And of course, there's certain qualifications you have to meet to be designated a tree city, but because we have a city arborist employed by the city who oversees the maintenance and planting of all of our trees, and because we spend money on planting trees every year, we spend quite a bit of dollars actually maintaining trees and removing dead ones and pruning the ones that we have. We qualify as a tree city, so that's a big deal, 40 years. And finally, the county engineer, the contractor that they have now secured to do the replacement of the West Main Street Bridge over here is Adina. And right now, it looks as though that work would begin in June. So during the month of June and July, I think you could probably even beyond June and July, you could expect for West Main Street to be closed. But more details will be coming. And that's what I have tonight.
All right, very good. Comments and questions from the audience? If there's anyone here who would like to address council, now is the time. Good evening, sir.
Good evening again. Yeah, I was looking on Facebook. I saw rumors about a skating rink coming in town, all the way out there. Do you guys know a time frame about getting like our own skating rink?
I've just
soon?
gone by what I've read, and it's gonna be in that parcel land behind Fiesta Chara, and they're hoping to open by the end of the year. So,
It's a private venture, so the city, of course, is not moving forward with the construction of Rollercade, but the local couple that wants to pursue it are in the process of closing on the land. So they do not yet own the land, but after they close on the land, it is their hope to be able to secure a construction loan to build a facility similar to what we all grew up with here in Ashland when the Rollercade used to be out at Moselle Hall. They were described to me as though they want a wood floor. And I don't know if it'll be the same size or not, but they want to make it very much like a traditional roller skating rink. But we'll see what happens.
And earlier today, me and my girlfriend was walking home, getting some heating and stuff. I was like the one-way street on Carroll Street, like once you turn around. I almost got hit by a truck. They were going at least over 40 miles.
Yes.
Okay.
And what street was that?
Carroll Street, like where the
Carroll, oh,
Tuss is
okay.
at, that one-way turn.
Yep. No matter whether folks are crossing in a crosswalk or not, you always need to be defensive and watch out for your own safety. That's one of our concerns, is that when people are crossing in a crosswalk, they will have a false sense of security and think that because they're where they're supposed to be, all motorists will stop. And clearly that is not always the case, even though it's supposed to be. So always be careful when you're crossing the street. Sometimes people probably think I'm silly, but I often say, in Safety Town, what did we learn? Stop, look, and listen before you go across the street. And those still apply even all these years later.
I was brought up, look left, look right, look left again.
Yes.
So,
Yeah, one last thing, I got good news. It's not like a job. I'm like a reseller and whatnot, because that's the only income I'm living on is my girlfriend's SSI. It's more like a side job.
Yep.
I could sell anything I want.
Well, congratulations.
Yes.
That's all.
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you.
thank you.
Thank you.
All right. If there's nothing else, then we'll ask for a motion to adjourn.
Move to adjourn.
Second.
Thank you.
All right.
Aye.
Oh,
It's okay, it's okay.
Last from the
Easy to do.
Aye. Aye.
Easy to do.
who am I? Aye.
hi.
All right, we are adjourned. Thank you all for coming.
It actually sounds
Now,